Right into Bitcoin here. Now, Bitcoin broke above the key pivot line. So right here's your key pivot line, right? Major pivot. You can see again how it kept on hammering on it, hammering, finally breaking above. But what do we know? If you've been following my game plans, if you know the methodology I teach, a close above is good. It basically puts you in a neutral bias on Bitcoin, but it's not confirmed yet. So don't get fooled here. It may confirm. If it confirms, you should have a very high probability of going up to 69 to 70,000. If it doesn't confirm, this level can be slipped back below, and it could be an institutional game. So just be a little cautious here. Again, I would love to say, hey, bullish, all clear signs, but per the methodology, per probability, we can't do that just yet. Today, Bitcoin is down ticking a little bit, but it has not, I repeat, has not confirmed above the key pivot line. So let's watch and see if it does. I'll update you in trading the close today here at 355. We'll see if it gets a bid and confirms. If not, I'll obviously keep you posted if it slips back below.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. Let's join Gareth in this video about Bitcoin and more.
S&P 500 basically holding steady to positive this morning, right? So if we look at the markets here, we can see that we closed right here on Friday, and we can see that we are net positive by about $1 on the SPY. That equates to about a 10-point move on the S&P 500. That's not a big move by any stretch. It's gentle float on a Monday morning here, but nonetheless, we are net positive. We're seeing NVIDIA slightly positive ahead of earnings. We're actually going to look at that chart in just a minute to kind of delve into it. All right, so again, overall looking relatively neutral to positive on the markets to start the day, but needless to say, throughout the course of the week, things could get a little wild and crazy. Now, one thing I wanted to go over today, folks, is a chart. And again, weekends for me, I still study the charts, right? I'm always studying the charts. Ask my kids, ask my wife. It's just the nature of the beast. But what I do is I look at bigger time frames, and I look for the bigger moves, right? So it's one thing when we're in the heat of battle during a day, during the week. It's like, okay, well, what is the chart saying here? What are we doing here? What's the next move? But then on the weekends, I look at the bigger picture. And I want to show you this, guys. This kind of jumped out at me. So I went back to the charts of 2007 before the financial crisis. And we know the S&P dropped about 66% during the 2008-2009 crisis. And what I found was that there are eerily identical, almost identical similarities to the charts from '07 and to what we're seeing right now. In fact, even the recent surge back up is almost identical to what we saw in '07.
Bitcoin is battling to hold gains after a 40% recovery in August, with the monthly close and upcoming macroeconomic data setting the stage for possible price volatility. Traders are focused on whether BTC can break its consolidation and aim for new highs. BTC/USD targets $65,000, with traders anticipating a volatile monthly close. Expectations of a rate cut, supported by Jerome Powell's dovish remarks, boost BTC outlook. Mining difficulty is projected to increase by 2.8%, reversing earlier declines. Short-term holders sold off $10 billion in BTC as prices recovered. The crypto fear and greed index rose from 26 to 55, indicating shifting sentiment toward optimism.
What we're going to do is we're going to look at '07. Here's '07, right? So in early 2007, we had this constant grind up, right? We were seeing this grind up. Basically, if I extended this out, you would see that the market was just going like this, right? And what we saw is we saw this dip. It was about a 6% dip. We made a low. We then had our next big surge to the upside. We went all the way up. We then had an 11% drop, all right, and made a higher low. Low, higher low. We then had a replication of this monster move up, almost vertical, much like what we're seeing right now. It made a new high. Here was your previous high. It made a new high for about 3 days. And then the bigger down move came in. And it wasn't straight down. It had bounces along the way, right? But let's look at this, and then we're going to move over to here. This is the current S&P chart. Well, here we have that same move up, 6% drop, putting in a low. 6% drop, putting in a low. We then had that next big move to the upside to a new all-time high. Essentially, at the time, it was a new all-time high. And we had a 10% vertical drop. Here we had that move up, and we had an 11% drop. We then saw that this market shot right back up. The bulls came roaring back. They just ripped this market back to the upside. Well, look at what's happened recently. Same thing. Now, what's interesting here is if this plays out identically, it actually tells us, and you can see I put the arrows in, it tells us that the S&P may make a new all-time high here. And what's so interesting about that is I'm a psychological kind of trader, meaning that I pay attention to the human psychology. That's what charts are based off of. And if you think about it, what effect would that have on the markets? Well, after a 10% drop, to make new all-time highs so quickly, the mainstream media is going to go nuts. They're going to talk about, oh my goodness, this market's unstoppable. The retail investor is going to be like, oh my goodness, this market is unstoppable. They're going to go nuts like this. And what's interesting here is you're going to basically decimate the bears. If you go on social media, the bears will be just dying off left and right. And ultimately, what we know is that that exact thing happened right here in 2007 before the 66% downside move. And so really fascinating to think about what will happen if we just push up a little bit more. We're only about like $40 or $50 or points away on the S&P from a new all-time high. It's not that big of a move. But again, imagine that. We push up here, takes out this high, stops out the bears, or a majority of the bears, the weak-handed bears, and then it gets more longs to go long, thinking this market can't lose, only to see that same replication that we see over here. And just to kind of clarify, so we can see the ultimate outcome, what I'll do is I'll just drag this chart over, and we can see that eventually, obviously, into 08 and into 09, we can see what ended up happening, right? I mean, here was that previous high, down move, there's another bounce. But notice now you got a lower high, then down move, then sideways consolidation, down move, bear flag, down move, and it kept on going down and down and down. And so the idea is, could this be replicating this right here where we do make a new all-time high, then you get the down move and so on and so forth to the downside. So again, for me, weekends are all about studying the bigger picture. I look at gold going back to like the 70s. I look for these type of things, and you find amazing similarities in charts. And you might say, well, why do charts repeat patterns? I mean, why is a bear flag a bear flag? It was 20 years ago, 40 years ago was a bear flag. Well, it's because it's all based on human minds, right? Human psychology. The psychology that's creating, that has buyers and sellers doing what they're doing, that creates that chart of a bear flag, that was the same in ancient Egypt, in ancient Greece, in ancient, you go to anywhere where back then it was more commodities being traded more than anything, right? That was how people were acting. And that's why charts, again, are based on human psychology and why they tend to repeat over and over again.
Bitcoin has been in a consolidation phase for nearly 6 months, with analysts predicting a significant breakout before October 2024. Historical trends, institutional interest, and market stability are key factors to watch as Bitcoin approaches its next major move. Bitcoin's current phase is the longest before breaking a previous all-time high, indicating a potential rally towards $70,000. Analysts expect a breakout by October 2024, aligning with past post-halving trends. Jerome Powell's dovish remarks have increased institutional inflows into Bitcoin, particularly through ETF. With open interest stable, Bitcoin is less likely to face immediate retracement, though holding above $62,800 is crucial for further gains. Bitcoin is expected to remain between $61,000 and $70,000, awaiting key economic data to influence its next move. This year, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission approved 12 spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, ETF, and 9 spot Ethereum ETF. Here's a deep dive into the distinctions between spot and futures crypto asset exchange-traded products, ETPs, offering essential insights for investors navigating the ever-evolving world of crypto investments. Bitcoin's hash rate is on the rise once again, edging closer to the peak levels seen at the end of July, Despite a recent 4.19% dip in difficulty during the last retarget, current projections suggest that this drop might soon be history. On August 28, the difficulty is expected to bounce back, potentially increasing by 4% or more. Thai authorities successfully raided an illegal Bitcoin mining operation in Ratchaburi on August 23. The raid came after residents reported frequent power outages. The Bitcoin mining operation was found to be consuming electricity that the occupants of the house were not fully paying for. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.